All right, it is Friday morning, 11:30 on the East Coast for everyone. We got Gonzaga, Auburn in game right now, so mute your TVs. You got your first episode of Pick and Troll from the Breakdown Sports. Make sure you check out our website at thebreakdownsports.com and follow us on Twitter at BRKDWN_sports. Your first stream, new show for you, college basketball all day, every day. Jordan and I are here from the breakdown to break down your daily spreads, your daily lines. We won't be going super long every day. We're going to give out our best bets and then maybe one or two other things that we've seen. So, Jordan, El Jefe, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
Pretty good. We got Gonzaga with a big blowout already. All that fake steam of two guys being out, adjusting the line a little bit has done nothing as you're sitting up 15 with 8 left in the first half.
Yeah, they look like they could break 100 pretty easy in this, or get close to it. They're trending towards scoring about 90 points in this game against a Auburn team.
Yeah, Auburn team that's without Sharif Cooper. I looked pregame. The team total from Gonzaga was 92 points, so I think we're going to be seeing that a lot this season with them.
So with Auburn, do you think or I guess this is one of the first instances we're seeing it today, at least with the back-to-backs? Because I mean, they didn't look too great yesterday. Only beat someone's alma mater by a handful of points.
Yeah, if you're only going to beat a team that got 5 wins with Auburn, probably didn't have the season they expected last year, but first game without Sharif Cooper, I think that played the most into it. Right now, I just think Gonzaga is just a different beast. Everyone was hyping them up. This is kind of the season. If they don't do it, when will they ever do it?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I had much higher hopes for Kansas yesterday, and even into the second half, they had started to make somewhat of a comeback. But those last 12 minutes of the game, Gonzaga really just put them away. Ended up winning by 15 points. They almost scored 100.
Yeah, even with two guys out, Zaga's just that deep where it might not even matter to them, but we'll see what it is.
100.
I don't know. So the premise of this show is Jordan and I work together. We got a model running. We're running it every day, breaking down the spreads, where are the edges in each one. So as of right now, it's given an edge so far both times against Gonzaga. That's just the early kinks in the model where Gonzaga fading them, backing Chicago State have been two of the biggest themes so far. So you always got to take it with a grain of salt. Some people like to trust it and throw every play. We're going to throw some more analysis on top of it. If any of you followers ever want to get lines or anything, hit Jordan or I up on the Breakdown Twitter or our individual Twitters. But we each got 3 plays for you today. We share one similar one. So I guess I'll kick it off first unless you want to back up the model a little bit more before we get into the plays.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit more about that. Anytime you are doing any type of analysis for sports, especially early in the season, it's always going to be telling you that the bad teams aren't as bad as they truly are, and the good teams aren't as good as they truly are. It's just there are limits. You know, a analytical database model can only think that team is going to score so many points or beat another team by so many points. It doesn't understand that a mid-tier team can rout Chicago State by 55 points without breaking a sweat, or Nebraska won by 75 over Mississippi Valley. Nebraska is the worst team in the Big Ten. They won by almost 80 points. So early on in the season, as these get more data baked into them, they certainly become more reliable. So you're really looking for things more towards the center. You're looking for games that you're expecting to be closer, not the big blowouts. Trying to gauge those either way off raw projections is very challenging this early in the year.
Yep, that's a perfect way to put it, just because I guess the model and some things it is hard is, even though at last season, Mississippi or Missouri Valley State let up 130 in both of their first games last season, but it's something that you can't take into account. Nebraska ball looks like it might never be back. That's one of the teams that I've been hating on the most so far. Hoiberg coming back, I mean, he wasn't given much there, but
transfer you.
Nevada and Alfred that didn't have much more there. That's a tough one on your home court.
Yeah, I mean, and he's really trying for the transfer model, trying to bring in players from anywhere, the JUCO ranks, D2, guys have fizzled out of high majors, dudes who succeed at mid and low majors. And that's really not a way to build a system, especially in the Big Ten, where you can do that in lower ranks, mid majors, and stuff like that. It's the talent disparity is huge, but when you're in the Big Ten and you're trying to compete with Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, it's really challenging to just rely on transfers and new dudes every single year.
Yeah, I think Hoiberg just going to the NBA just mixed it all up, or those like 2 or 3 years in Iowa State was just a flash in the pan.
Mm-hmm.
But not much more about 2014 Iowa State that we can talk about right now with the solid slate we have today. The one thing I saw in this one is we had some nice MTEs yesterday on Thanksgiving, and on Wednesday today looks like there's a lot of bye games other than a select few. So maybe tread carefully because we do see some large spreads. But the first pick or the first game that we're going to highlight is going to be Xavier versus Toledo. So right here we got the spread. It opened, I think, around 10 to 10.5. We're currently sitting down at -9. I'm playing Xavier -9. First time I'm laying the points this college basketball season, but I think this is a great spot to do it. With Xavier, I mean, they played Oakland. Toledo played Oakland. Oakland's one of those teams that could be potentially down there with Chicago State, so it's hard to really see how much you can take from that game. But with Toledo, I mean, after they lost their opener and then they beat Oakland, and that really puts them at 9 points to Xavier. I just think that's a lot of disrespect to Xavier. I know this is their third game in 3 days, but I mean, Toledo, they rank 173 in defensive efficiency and 131 in offensive efficiency. And with Xavier, you got 29 on the defense and 99 on offense. So here, I just think Xavier holds a large advantage and almost all the way across the court. I think this one could get – my only concern is if they get up by 15 or 16 and then Toledo just hits some shots late to screw me. But I think this is easy, a double-digit winner for Xavier here.
Yeah, not really much to disagree there. They looked really good first game out, although against a much weaker opponent. Toledo, as someone whose alma mater played in the MAC for like 34 minutes, I'm all about fading every MAC team at every opportunity possible.
Yeah, it's just rough for me because Toledo's my squad. Marion Jackson retweeted me over the summer, so that was a tough one. But Marion, I know you're watching this to get hyped up before your game that tips off in 19 minutes. I'm sorry, but Fremantle on Xavier is a name that hasn't broken the cups very much. He had a nice double-double in his first game. I think this is one where Toledo, their tallest guy on their roster is 6'9" that gets considerable minutes in Camogram. So that's where I think Fremantle showed that he can dominate the inside. I think they're just going to pound it in there all day and just make Toledo's life miserable. And Xavier's D is Xavier's D and Toledo's O is their O. So I don't think we need to get much more into there. But with it sitting at -9, our model has at minus like 10.1 or 10.2. So we see a 1 point edge here. So it's not huge, but one of the not larger ones for today, but something I think that we should be backing.
All right. Want me to go?
Yeah, what do you got as your first one?
My first one. So looks like I'm liking some of these later games. First one that really caught my interest is battle of two California teams, UC Davis out of the Big West versus Santa Clara. Santa Clara had a really good season last year by Santa Clara standards, at least. We're long past the days of Steve Nash running the ranks of the WCC, but they are somewhat of a system program, having Herb Sandek there for the past 3 years, each year improving over the prior year. So last year they actually squeaked out a winning record. They still aren't winning in conference play, which not really that big of a concern against a team like UC Davis, but I just think they are the better team here. Game when it first came out looks like it was around 9, I believe. I can pull that up quickly, but it's now at 7.5. So not quite sure why. Santa Clara is clearly the better team. I think that this is a 10-point win for them. I find that they have advantages virtually across the board. I think UC Davis is going to be very challenged to score. Santa Clara is a team that plays it super slow on both sides of the court. So this is going to be a low-scoring game, probably in the 130s. So that's certainly an angle if you were looking at that. I just find that when Santa Clara has the ball, they're going to dominate. They're going to hold it. They're going to get it down low like they like to do, and they're going to be able to score. And when UC Davis has the ball, I think Santa Clara is just really going to grind them out, make them force turnovers, force bad shots, work them late into the play clock, and they should win without much challenge there. We have it projected at a minus 10.25, and the line is minus 7.5. So that's about a 3-point edge there if you are looking at the Vegas lines.
Yeah, with Santa Clara, with UC Davis, I was looking at where could they potentially hold an advantage and what's better than overreacting to a 1 or 2 game slate. But Santa Clara holds it in everywhere. UC Davis plays good defense on not allowing you to assist off scored buckets, but they let up 101 points last game. So I don't think it really mattered if anyone passed them the ball. They just scored. Nicholls State just scored at will against Davis. That's something you don't like to see. And here, Santa Clara is just a much deeper team, but the one cool matchup to watch for is probably going to be Vranic for Santa Clara against Mangione for Davis. Neither of them will be guarding each other, but both of them are capable of being potential 20-point scorers in this game. So even though it could be low scoring, the offense runs through both of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Santa Clara really likes playing from the inside out. Try and dish the ball down low, and as available, they'll throw it back out for the 3-point shot. But they really just have advantages kind of across the board. If you were to look at, I just pulled up Eric Hasla, and he has Santa Clara in the edge for every single metric except for field goal
assisted rate. Yep, that's what I'm saying. It didn't, but they let up 101 points. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so for my next one, I want to know if I would say this is my favorite angles, but taking a mid-major against a bottom Power 5, Power 6 team, regretted myself, huge bet regret with not backing Nevada yesterday, so maybe I'm chasing it a little bit here, but Valpo versus Vandy. Here, Vandy last season, Jerry Stackhouse did not have the first season he wanted to have there. Scottie Pippen Jr. is their top returning player. They're getting DJ Harvey from Notre Dame in, so you kind of just got a 2-man unit there. Not much else that you can really like on this Vandy squad. Going against a Valpo team where I don't think there's much difference between them. KenPom has them separated by less than 25 teams, so I think that's a good metric to take in where you have this spread at +6. Sometimes it's 5.5 on some books, but you can get your 6 if you want it. I'm back in Valpo. I'm taking the points here. We have this down towards 5. So once again, not a huge edge, but with this is Vandy's first game and Valpo's first game with no good training camp. Vandy got the new guys in. I'm kind of going with the angle that I'm going for our next game that Jordan and I share, but with Vanderbilt, I don't think they're going to take this big of a step in their first game. Valpo isn't someone that's going to walk in, and then if they can get a Power 6 win in their first game to start off the season hot, I like it there. My biggest concern in this matchup is Vandy just has more of the blue blood or bigger recruits here. So this Valpo team's got to scrape it together. Vandy on offense isn't something I'm worried about. It's more if it's Vandy's defense can hold Valpo tight, because we seen Vandy pull upsets against LSU last season where no one expected that to happen, and it did. But I'm liking Valpo here. Maybe if I had some more cojones, I'd take the +215 money line here, but going to back Valpo +6.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that one, although it's not a game that I'm really eyeing. One thing that I thought was hysterical, going through preparing for the season, reading, all the things across the media and stuff, one of the things that I came across was the 3-man weave. They do a coaching ranking, and Jerry Stackhouse is the 320th best coach in Division I basketball, which I found absolutely hysterical. I mean, there's nothing that he's done that has inspired that Vanderbilt team at all. They are by far the worst team in the SEC. There's not really even anyone close. And it seems like he doesn't want to be a college coach. He clearly wants to be in the NBA, but if he keeps losing games like he is and not playing with inspired teams, he can recruit, but once he has the players on the team, they're not really doing anything. So, yeah, I like your Valpo angle here.
Yep. And I mean, 3MW, think you might be doing Jerry Stackhouse a little rough. I mean, I know they did go 11-21 last season, but if you look at that roster last year, it was pretty putrid. And you look at the notable recruits he's bringing in now. I mean, no one's that big. Disu is the one guy, I guess, they're freshman this season that if you're going to watch for its first game, how much he's going to be up to it. But Scottie Pippen Jr., what can you do as well? So Jerry's getting the guys, like Jordan said, not really growing them yet, but one season, cupboards were bare. I'm not ready to give him the 300th plus worst coach, but he's not crocking my top 150 for sure, though.
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally get that. I will take it over. We're heading to my second game. My second game, I have Colorado at Kansas State. Kansas State coming off an absolutely ugly loss in a bye game. I believe, was that against Drake?
Yep.
Yeah. So they were almost double-digit favorites. I think they were 8-point favorites going into the game, and they end up just getting absolutely blown out. And then Colorado won last night. I think they played yesterday. So that's one of the back-to-back angles. So I am backing Kansas State here. That is the team that I like. I don't think they're as bad as they truly looked in that first game. And if they are, I think that this is very early in the season for us to realize that and make note of it. And if they are this bad and they do continue to underperform, something to bank on, or fade or play against down the stretch. Line opened with Kansas State at 7.5 point underdogs, which is crazy. It's now down to 5.5. We have it modeled around the 3.5 mark. I just think that Bruce Weber's too good of a coach to let his team play down to their competition multiple games like this. This is not the Kansas State teams that we've seen in the past where they are competing to be one of the best teams in the nation, but I don't think that they're that bad. Bart and Haskell both have Kansas State inside of their top 100, while KenPom has them sitting just at about 120th. Colorado's a good team. Colorado is certainly one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the Big 12. They're not going to be breaking any records. I don't think that they're a tournament team, but I just really like Kansas State in the spot. They're going to slow the game down. That's what Bruce Weber does. He plays basically at a crawl. Tortoise, one might say, a little bit more than a wildcat. So I just like Kansas State in this spot. I think that they, although playing so poorly in that first game and Colorado having many edges in terms of their offense and how the style that they play, I think that Bruce Weber is a good enough coach to coach them up to stay within 5 points of this game. We have this lined right around a 4, so we have about a 1.5 edge there for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it's kind of like their football season. Got caught at a sleepy spot against Ark State early, got caught against Drake here with basketball. When Colorado has the ball and KSU's on defense, it's pretty much a wash. They're going to evenly grade each other out there. The biggest concern with backing Kansas State in here, but if I'm definitely agreeing Kansas State's the play here. I'm not going to lay the points with Colorado, but maybe it's just the way Drake played or their offense just took it slow to start. But Colorado's defense is pretty solid. Kansas State could potentially, like you said, they want to slow it down. They play more team basketball. It's just when you look at their roster, you got Montavious Murphy, who's one of their top guys there, along with Williams. You just don't have a go-to scorer. They're just going to run the team offense, work you down on the clock. So maybe against a Colorado team that could work in their favor, just got to stop McKinley Wright. It's the easiest way to do it. One of my favorite players in the Pac-12 to watch. So if K-State can slow down McKinley Wright, they're definitely keeping this within 6.
Yep.
All right, the last game, we both share this one, so we'll break this one down together. If you guys don't follow us on Twitter or watch College Game Breakers, the stream that we have for college basketball between Steve and I, Jordan and I both faded UCLA and backed San Diego State in their first game. Going back to the well here, we're going to fade UCLA again against the Pepperdine. That's the one where Zoe 101 was at, right?
Yeah, Pepperdine Waves.
Yeah, everyone. So now they
Right on
really
the
know
beach.
how good our college basketball knowledge is,
Yep.
and we're dropping Zoe 101 references. But this line's at 7.5. We make it at 4.5. So this is one of our biggest edges of the day. We both agree here. We're both thinking we're getting 3 points of value. UCLA and Cronin. Last season was better at the end. If you just graded it off the start, they would have been extremely disappointed with it. Coming into this season, I don't know. UCLA is just a roller coaster. Jordan's going to get into how they love switching the styles of their play. I'm just more getting into where Pepperdine is within 25 to 30 spots of this UCLA team. Wild to think where the current programs are given their name basis right now. But Pepperdine's offense is going to be able to score in UCLA. We saw San Diego State score, and they won outright. So that's where I don't think Pepperdine wins outright here. It'd be great if they did, but I think getting 7.5 here is too much. My concern is if Pepperdine can slow down UCLA, because UCLA did go on some solid runs against San Diego State. It's one game. Maybe you're taking too much into it, but the pace matchup here is what could determine the game. Pepperdine plays at the 55th fastest pace. UCLA plays at 204, so you see a nice contrast of styles here.
Yeah. One thing about UCLA in that first game, even though they didn't come out on top against San Diego State, their free throw rate was very, very high. And on the other side of the ball is they don't foul a lot. So Pepperdine's really going to need to take advantage of that fast pace. They're not going to be able to rely on, trying to get on a fast break and catching a foul, going up for it. UCLA, they're very sound defensively. They don't commit a lot of fouls. And as you mentioned, we saw UCLA over the course of last year really change how they have picked up the pace. They've moved past the Mick Cronin teams of past to play a little bit more of a faster pace offense. But again, as Rex mentioned, they're just inside the 200th. They're just about 200th. In terms of pace on the year and how they play with their tempo. They do chuck. They throw up threes. So that's going to be something that Pepperdine's really going to need to keep intact. They're really going to have to defend the three-point line because UCLA has no fears when it comes to being able to toss up those shots from deep.
Yep, and what I'm watching here is Jordan. He could be our favorite player come the end of the night. Is Colby Ross. Dude is just a 20-point per game scorer for Pepperdine. So him and Edwards combo, I like that. It's just, who is UCLA's top bucket getter? Who's their top scorer? That was my biggest thing in the game against San Diego State when we put up 58 points. It was a little bit hard to see who it was, but it looks like it's running through Cody Riley and Jamie Jaskes. So they're running it through their big men. Their guards really struggled in the first game with Tiger Campbell didn't have a great sophomore start to his season. So maybe UCLA just came out slow because I just think the public was extremely low on San Diego State Wednesday night. Maybe they're more correct here at the 7.5, but we have this at 4.5. So this is probably, I wouldn't say our favorite play of the day, but the one with our biggest edge.
Yeah, certainly. And then something that I was going to say about Pepperdine, actually, when you mentioned Colby Ross. So I ended up tuning into the ESPN West, where are they in the West Coast? Yeah, the WCC preview show that they did. And they had Colby Ross as like a dark horse player of the year for that conference because they said that if they're able to really squeak one out and really play well this season, even though you're in a conference like Gonzaga has so many players that their top 5, 8, 10 players are all so dominant and they play so balanced that there may not be one player on Gonzaga who really stands out. So the case that they made is that if Pepperdine is able to catapult themselves into the top 2, top 3 of this conference, that someone like Colby Ross could be a legitimate Player of the Year contender for the WCC.
Oh, if they knock off Jalen Suggs, that'd be wild. So root for Colby Ross. Your campaign starts tonight or continues tonight. Get us some more 20 points and get us an outright dub here, and you'll be leading your way there. We'll back you. If you get us this one winner here, we'll probably come back to you a few other times throughout the year, Pepperdine, but good start to get on our good graces.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the last thing I just wanted to mention, Jordan, probably one of the games we have the biggest edge. Just letting it off, but I have to rock them anyway. The Morehead State Eagles, rocking a Morehead State t-shirt today. So that'll be the one I'll be watching, going up against the Spiders. Morehead State's 21-point dogs. Model likes it within 3 points less than that. I'm just not getting involved because Richmond could be the A-10 juggernaut this season.
Yeah. I mean, I think Richmond did they play the other night? Or did their game get canceled? They did not play. This is their first game of the season. I don't know why I thought that it was maybe Dayton, similar colors, A-10 school, easy to confuse them. Why do you have a Morehead State t-shirt?
Kenneth Fareed.
Right. Okay. Totally makes sense. That's so funny.
It was also like $3, so I didn't really break the bank for this one. It was one of the college rack ones where it's just a gray shirt, name across in letters. That's about it. Nothing else to it.
Yep. I didn't know if it was like the shirt you had to buy to put yourself over on the free shipping, and like Fanatics or something like that. When I was in college, we had a 2003 Final Four magnet that we had on our mini fridge because my roommate had placed an order on Fanatics and he needed like $1.49 for free shipping. So he found the cheapest item, and it was a Final Four magnet from 8 years prior.
Then that's full spectrum. No team gets left on pick and troll here. Make sure you check us out. We'll be live. We're going to figure out a good schedule to get going, but follow us on Twitter. You can tweet. You can check out our plays there. Watch our banter. Watch us troll some squads. You can follow me at reast_easy with a Z. You can follow the Breakdown Sports at BRKDWN_sports. Got you covered in all areas, just not college basketball, even though that's the one we got our juices flowing. Need some NFL, soccer stuff. We got you covered there, as long with the other sports. You want to say some few words, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. If you are interested in following me on Twitter at Gordon Von Denham, you can find me there. As Rex mentioned, check out our profile on Twitter. We do have a lot of content out on our website as well. And as Rex mentioned, we're going to try and figure out a schedule, try and come to you guys, 2-3 times a week. Quick shows like this, 15-30 minutes. Kind of just break down a couple things from the day or days before. Look at a few of the top games that we really like and are paying attention to, and kind of just go from there. Sometimes there'll be Rex hosting, sometimes I'll host. Maybe we'll have a guest on now and then. So looking forward to a long season we have. Hopefully we are able to stay safe, keep the players out there. Hopefully not have too many games canceled. Kind of seems like that's already starting to slow a bit from the early action leading up to the first days of the season. So hopefully we're trending in the right direction here. Hopefully college basketball is able to figure out ways to effectively quarantine and do contact tracing. So that way we're not looking down slates of all postponed or canceled games, and we can keep having some of this action.
Yep. So let's recap our plays real quick before we sign off, and then going forward, and even real quick, if you want to get a late one in, we want to make the show interactive. If there's a game that you like or a pick that you like, write it in. We'll talk about it. If you want our angle or what our model has for one of the games, write it in, tweet at us. We'll reply to it as quick as we can. But my 3 plays for today are Xavier -9, Valpo +6, and Pepperdine +7.5, all at -105.
Very nice. I am on Pepperdine -7.5 or +7.5 -105. I've also got Santa Clara. That's at -7.5 -105, and then my last one is Kansas State +5.5 -115. Had some pushes go down on day one, lost on a hook on another. So I'm going to find getting the 5.5 there versus the 5. You can find the 5. I would probably play it at a 5 at a -110 or -105 if that was my only option.
Yes, sir. So let's have a good day of winners. We'll see you guys later.